Hey guys, Necroxis here, and I'm making another vlog in response to another outrage that's happening in the community right now. I know some of you might not like these more vlog-type videos, but they seem to be quite popular on my channel, so I'm going to continue to do them. Today, we're going to be talking about, as you can probably tell from the title of the video, the change regarding the capitals in Warlords of Draenor concerning the Temple of Karabor and Bladespire Citadel. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about somehow, and you're a fan of the community of WoW, or a fan of WoW and in the community, and you somehow missed this, A, good on you, and B, let me explain. So, yesterday, actually, not yesterday, but Thursday, I guess technically it was Friday. It was Friday at like 12:05 a.m., so right after it became Friday. Someone tweeted at Mumper, Corey Stockton, who is, what's his title here? Lead game designer on the game, on World of Warcraft. Someone tweeted at him and said, quote, "Are you still planning on making Karabor and Bladespire into the capitals like the shrine in Mists of Pandaria? The shrines, like how they are." He said he saw the untextured interior of Karabor and it was cool. And Mumper said, "No, the faction hubs for the Alliance and Horde will be on the outskirts of Ashran." Now, Ashran is the PvP zone that they're adding in Warlords of Draenor. If you know something about the lore, it's the place where in Warcraft 2, Beyond the Dark Portal, Deathwing's lair was located. It's a little island right above Tanan Jungle, right where, which becomes Hellfire Peninsula. It's a small island right north of that. So that's where the faction hubs are going to be. And before I continue, let me just explain what I mean when I say faction hubs. You're also going to hear capital. In this sense, you can exchange the two terms. It just basically means the place where there are vendors who sell things important to the player, whether it's tier gear or some kind of profession stuff or any other kind of thing you need to buy from a vendor. It would be the place where Reforging was if it was still in the game. It's the place that it obviously has like an innkeeper and a repair place like every other city, but more importantly it has the portals to the various zones, or the various capitals, so like Stormwind, Orgrimmar, Thunderbluff, Silvermoon, Darnassus, etc. The place that has that, and the place that usually has profession trainers too. So, like I said earlier, just like the shrines in Mists of Pandaria were, in Cataclysm, we didn't really have one because they were using Orgrimmar and Stormwind, but if you want to try and make a comparison, what they're doing now is similar to how the Tol Barad bases worked. Although, I'll get to a little bit later, the bases in Ashran are way bigger than Tol Barad. So, this is what they're doing. They're taking the NPCs and the functions of what Bladespire Citadel and Karabor were going to be when they first announced it at BlizzCon, and just moving it over to the bases in Ashran. And this didn't seem like that big of a change to me when I first heard about it. And then probably, an hour later, on the official forums and on MMO Champion, the topic just exploded. And I can't even point to why it initially happened. I have some theories. For example, maybe I think some people who are having issues with Warlords of Draenor from gameplay perspectives, which doesn't include me, mine is a lore perspective, why I don't like it, but from gameplay perspectives, I think when people saw this change, they latched onto it, and it just kind of drove them over the edge, where before they were just close to the edge. And so, this whole topic exploded. And people were going absolutely insane. Some people are. There's a big, I don't know how big of a percentage of it is, but there's a big percentage of people, both on MMO Champion and on the WoW forums, which, to be fair, are the most vocal members of the community. So, if you ever see someone talking about this saying that they speak for the vast majority of the players don't even go on the forums. So I'll just point that out. And let me just say before I continue, please listen to the whole of this video before you make a comment on it, because I actually do agree that the change is stupid, but mostly this video is talking about something else, related to the change. So please, before you start flaming me in the comments below, like I received all over the forums last night, I do think this change is stupid, but let me continue on and explain. So basically, people are attributing a whole bunch of things to this now. People are saying, the game is dying. People are saying, they made this change to force PvP on players. They basically, any wild speculatory theory about anything in World of Warcraft is now coming out about because of this from the very vocal people who don't like it. And let me point out, as I was trying to explain earlier before I cut myself off, if you have the group of people here who dislike this change, the ones I'm talking about in this video are not all of these people, but it's a significant faction of the people in this group that are doing this. And they're saying really absurd things. You know, here, I was on MMO Champion talking about this, and I just pulled the thread on MMO Champion. I didn't even go on the official forums. I assume it's probably the same, or maybe even worse. But on MMO Champion, I just pulled a couple quotes from only 7 pages out of the now 140... Let me see how long this is. 177-page thread on MMO Champion. These are just some of the quotes from the people who are apparently so outraged at this. On the first 7 pages, mind you. There's 170 after this that I'm not even bringing up. There's someone saying, Blizzard went full retarded. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Fuck PvP and fuck Ashran. I hope it explodes soon and becomes nether shit. While I wasn't looking forward to anything in Frostfire, I can't accept a hub on the edge of a PvP zone. They can go fuck themselves. Hashtag save Karabor 2014. Hashtag save Bladespire 2014. Flood the tweets. Someone advocating just spamming the shit out of the devs. Someone else said they did it because the raids were closer to Frostfire and they didn't want to give the Alliance a reason to spam more Horde favoritism threads, which is just absurd. Someone else said if they won't change the retarded decision, then being obnoxious and annoying is about all we can do to them. Because, you know, why would we not be childish, right? Someone else said this is fucking stupid. Someone else has a crappy idea. Time for Halinka, who is, I don't know his title. He's even higher up than Corey Stockton is. He's in one of the, as a dev position. Halinka. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there you go. He said, time for Halinka to join Ghostcrawler in the unemployment lines. So someone who is so apparently outraged about this totally innocuous change wants someone to lose their job over it. Someone else said, who the fuck they thought was a good decision. Someone else said, I want to know what drugs they were on when they made this decision. That's just 7 pages out of 170 on MMO Champion, and I'm assuming it's just like that in the official forums, because people have been copy-pasting things from each one to another. So, after all of this began exploding, this was happening overnight, by the way. Like I said, the first tweet that started all this was at 12:05 at midnight, and within 4 hours, the thread on the official forums, the first thread was already full. On MMO Champion, the thread was like 50 pages already. So, there had to be some damage control that Blizzard was doing, and, you know, it doesn't really matter what they say at this point, people are still going to hate them, but Lore, who is one of the community managers, put out a pretty big post. I guess I'll read it all here, but I'll also link it, and I'll link the original tweet, I'll link the blue response, both in these posts, down below in the comments, so you can read them for yourselves. Lore said, okay, there's a lot of misunderstandings and misinformation floating around, so let me try to clarify what I can. Warlords of Draenor's story is about the people of Azeroth, namely the Alliance and the Horde, venturing into an unknown world and building up a force strong enough to take out an enemy stronger than anything they've encountered before on that enemy's own turf. While there are certainly some alliances that are made to be made along the way, and those are definitely major parts of the story, the core theme is about you and your faction fighting for survival. So, as development continued, we came to the realization that it just doesn't make any sense for the Horde and the Alliance to spend so much energy and resources building up a stronghold on Draenor, only to make their efforts out of someone else's city. We're not helping the Draenei or the Frostwolves fight off the Iron Horde, they're helping us. The Alliance and Horde both have major bases of operations on Draenor. That's where they should be working from. That, along with the continued development of garrisons into the overall quest and story flow of the expansion, led us to that decision to develop that the Horde and the Alliance bases on Ashran become the major city faction hubs instead of Bladespire and Karabor. Promoting the world PvP area on Ashran is a nice perk, but it wasn't a factor in making that decision. That said, the Temple of Karabor and Bladespire Fortress are still there. We haven't removed them or anything like that. You won't be able to use your bank or check your auctions there, but they're still fully built city homes for the Karabor Draenei and Frostwolf Orcs respectively. You'll still be able to explore them in their full glory. As to the Alliance and Horde staging areas on Ashran, allow me to lay out some few key facts to hopefully allay some concerns. A. They're located on Ashran as a geographical location on the map, but they're not part of the Ashran World PvP zone. They won't be subjected to the realm coalescing we're using to keep Ashran's PvP area populated, and they won't flag you for PvP on non-PvP realms. 2. We've also made some major improvements to the way PvP flagging works on non-PvP realms that removes accidental flagging from mistargeted abilities or ground effects. Unless you manually flag yourself by typing /PvP, you will simply not be able to attack enemy players or heal friendly players who have flagged themselves. 3. They're populated with guards, and the only land-based entrance is directly through Asheron's world PvP zone, including a major fortress. It is certainly possible for someone from another faction to attack it, but it's not any easier to do so than it is to attack the enemy faction's shrine in the Vale of the Eternal Blossoms. I don't think he spelled that out easy enough. You can't get there, you can't get to your enemy's faction's place. That's what he's saying. You can still get to yours, you can just fly right in a flight path, but your enemy can't get to your base except for going through a bridge. And it's as hard as attacking the shrine at the Vale. So you can also think of it like in Tol Barad, where there's only one entrance to the enemy faction's camp, for the most part, and there are guards everywhere. So that's how it's like. Finally, 4th, there will be a fast travel option between the staging area and your garrison. You can pop over there quickly, conduct your business, and then leave again if you like. He ends out by saying, "This isn't a question of whether or not Bladespire and Karabor are cities. They are. It's just a question of whether the portals to Orgrimmar and Stormwind are there or somewhere else. You'll still be able to explore them. They'll still be fully populated, and they're going to still be every bit as beautiful as they would have with a transmog NPC. We're looking forward to them ourselves." So, like I said earlier, all they're doing is taking the portals and the vendor NPCs, I'm hitting my mic because I'm getting angry at this now, and moving them from one place to another place. That's all they're doing. And you know what? I still think it's a stupid change, but the people who are freaking out and saying things like Blizzard are just completely retarded, or people need to lose their jobs over this, or any other insult in the book, because I didn't even cover some of the more worse ones, which talked about like death threats and a bunch of other nonsensical things. Those people need to stop. You don't understand what you're doing, and I'm talking to you right now, this group of people. You are ruining the reputation, whatever is left of it, of the WoW community as a whole. And like it or not, I'm considered part of that community alongside with you. You are acting totally childish. You need to stop and grow up. If you don't like the change, be an adult, like I did and many other people who are not freaking out, register your complaint on the official forums, and shut your fucking mouth. Stop spamming Twitter like a bunch of 5-year-olds and throwing a tantrum because you're not getting your way. This is an innocuous change. It's not a big deal whatsoever. It's not game breaking. It affects the gameplay barely at all, and you're doing nothing but ruining the reputation of the community as a whole. Doing stuff like this gives Blizzard a bigger and bigger reason to disregard the opinion of the community. And if they believe this, they rightly do. I can see why they believe it at this point. If they do believe shit like this, if they see it, I myself would be like, why would we ever listen to anything these people are saying? Because it doesn't matter what we do, they're going to think whatever conspiracy theory they want. They're going to think, that we're forcing them to PvP at all, even when the forum post said you don't have to. Corey Stockton himself said there's no forced PvP participation if you want to go to the base. You're not forced to do anything. Like I said, they're changing the location of the portal and the NPCs from one place to another place. That's all that's happening. And like I said for 3 times already, I think it's a dumb change, but I understand why they did it. Now that I've had like a day to process it, I actually kind of agree with their opinion. Even though I still do think it's a stupid change, mainly because they promised it at BlizzCon. And to go off in a small tangent on that, even though they did promise it at BlizzCon, a lot of the things that they say at a lot of the BlizzCons change. Do we have to remind people of aerial PvP battles in Wintergrasp? That never happened. The Dance Studio still is not a thing that's going on. Path of the Titans and Cataclysm was a big thing they were talking about, and they were so excited even though they didn't have any real information about it. That got entirely scrapped. Archaeology changed and grew out of the Path of the Titans system. So the idea that we need to condemn them now for saying something at BlizzCon and changing it is a little disingenuous. And now if you want to be upset as a whole at all of the BlizzCons when they say things and change them, then that's fine. But don't start saying this is the first expansion where they've said something and changed their minds. That's a load of horse shit. So, now going off of the excuse, or I guess the explanation that Lore gave on the official forums, like I said, it does kind of make more and more sense now that I think about it. You come to Draenor to stop the Iron Horde. You find allies with the Draenei or the Frostwolves. And for anyone who has played or even watched videos on the starting zones, and if you haven't, you can do so on my channel, there's a whole bunch of them. By the end of just the first zones, your garrison has a very significant population of people. And, you know, it makes sense to me why, instead of occupying another person's city, you go and you build yours closer to where the final actions of the expansion are taking place. Let me explain. By the end of Frostfire and Shadowmoon Valley, the Iron Horde forces, whether they're the Thunderlord clan in Frostfire or Ner'zhul's orcs in Shadowmoon Valley, those two factions are pretty much taken care of when you finish those zones. They're not really a major threat anymore. It doesn't make sense to base your entire military operation out of a place that's far away from the action, and at least because you're on a place where you don't have a lot of forces. You know, you might have, your garrison might be populated, but in the grand scheme of things, the Iron Horde is still much larger. And when you have that small of a force, you can't afford to have your, you know, your generals and your lieutenants and your most important military NPCs that far away from the lines, of the battle lines. So it makes sense that they would be on Ashran. Now, of course, it's obvious. I don't know why they deny this, but it's obvious they're just putting it here because this is the endgame PvP spot. But and I don't even think that's a problem, because it's, so what? It's just a fact. It's not a big deal. But, you know, especially for Karabor, Karabor is like a holy city of the Draenei. Now, it's not Auchindoun level or Shattrath, but it's their temple. It's a holy temple. It seems kind of silly that we would then be like, yeah, let's just set up all of our military operations from your holy's temple. Remember how we were allies? Now we're just going to take advantage of your whole city? Sorry. So, you know, they're focusing on this Ashran base and your garrison, which I think is smart, because you are the commander in Warlords of Draenor. You are the leader. You might have all of these important NPCs with you, like Thrall and Khadgar and, you know, Drek'thar and Yrel and Velen, but you are the one leading the attack. You are the canonical leader of what's going on here on your faction's side. It makes sense that your garrison, your base of operations, is where most of this happens from. And like they said, there's a quick instant portal or whatever, sometimes transport, from your garrison to the base on Ashran. And I think that makes sense. That's pretty much everything you need to say about this topic. I think people who are doing and saying this nonsense, like I said, you need to stop. You're coming off like petty, hysterical, rabid children. You're not making your point any more clear. You're not being any more convincing. If anything, someone who agrees with you but might not care about it as much as you do, you're turning me against your position because of how fucking crazy you're being. You're being absolutely insane, and you don't even realize it. You lash out at literally everybody. You're lashing out at Blizzard. You're not even listening to anything they're saying anymore. They try to explain themselves. You're just totally disregarding them. You're thinking that there's some conspiracy going on. Doesn't matter what they say, they're never going to convince you of anything. People like me who are just trying to say, calm down. I'm getting fucking just absolute vile comments coming my way. People are calling me a smug, like, fat fuck, and they're calling me a bunch of really terrible things just because I'm saying, stop, look, stop being insane. You're ruining it for everybody. That's all I'm trying to say here. So, that's pretty much my main thoughts on this, this whole topic. You know, again, to cap it all off, I think it's a dumb change, mainly because the places look so cool, but on the other hand, the places still do exist. They're still part of the questing experience. After the zones are done, you can still go to them. They have mailboxes there, they have innkeepers there, they have flight points there. If you want that to make the place where you log in and AFK and talk to your guild, or AFK, you know, or just sit there and wait for a dungeon finder or whatever you're doing, you can do it from there. The only thing you can't do is take a portal to Orgrimmar or Stormwind. And I don't think that's a big deal whatsoever, and I think people who do think that it's a big deal are really just looking for something to complain about, and this is the newest thing that they've latched onto. So, you know, my final point, to repeat myself one more time, I guess, is if you don't agree with this change like me, what you need to do, go on the official forums, make one post don't be childish about it. Don't be attacking the company. Don't be calling them retarded. Don't say people need to lose their jobs. Don't act like a fucking 6-year-old. Register your complaint and let it go. They're not going to change their mind if you make one comment or you make 10 million comments. It's got to be a lot of people. But you have to do it respectfully. Because how the fuck do you think... Why would you think Blizzard will respect you when you don't respect them? We're becoming... This is becoming like philosophy of the world. Stop acting like a fucking child. People are not going to respect you if you don't respect them back. It's as simple as that. If I had to make one line about this whole topic, people are not going to respect you and your comments and your opinions if you don't do the same to them. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm kind of disappointed I had to make this video because I thought we were better than this as a community. It's worse than, like, even when flying was removed, and I thought flying was... The idea of removing it was stupid. And it's way worse than this. So, you know... Again, I'm kind of sad I had to actually make this video, but, yeah, there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm just going to let you know, if you're going to engage in any of those things that people are saying on the forums, in my comments, not only am I going to remove the comment, but I'm going to ban you from commenting. I don't want to hear childish bullshit. You can disagree as much as you want. Like I already said, I don't think the change is good, but you're not going to spam my personal YouTube comment pages with that kind of vile, nonsensical, childish, hysterical bullshit. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned for more content coming up. Shadow Moon Valley will be up later today. See you then.